Are you tired of the government trying to calcify your pineal gland and turn you into nothing more than a working zombie? Look no further, because the Houston Ensemble has now been sponsored by the amazing Epic water filters. Tell us what they do, Armin.
Epic water filter is the only true filtration system you need. All these other filtration systems skip out on so many terrible chemicals and minerals that are still in your water and that you should not be drinking.
Fluoride, chromium, lead, all these other things that you do not want in your water. We've got water bottles with filters on them. We've got home installation filters. We've even got pitchers. Right now you can get 20% off any of these items on epicwaterfilters.com if you use our discount code Houston Ensemble, all lowercase, one word.
That's Houston Ensemble, lowercase, one word, for 20% off your Epic water filter.
Houston.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Houston Ensemble podcast, episode 33. We got a special guest with us today. We got Brother Air, all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm going to be honest. I don't even remember how I met you. Maybe through Irwin's. Was it through Irwin Stuckey? And we played like one time?
We met at the Urban Artifacts.
Oh my God, that's right.
In the bathroom. In the bathroom. And
I remember.
I was checking you out playing, and you went in the bathroom, and I came in the bathroom after you. I said, okay, so we standing there, and I'm like, hey man, because that night, you were like the only cat that really touched me as far as, okay, because I'm always looking for like the younger cats who's trying to at least deal with the music, and you was like saying something. I was like, okay, and my aim, this is kind of funny, my aim was to kind of get to you before the Cincinnati cats fucked you up,
Mm-hmm.
I think you did get to me too.
And that's not a jab at the Cincinnati cats, right?
Yeah, I mean it was that kind of thing, man. I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk to this cat because I hear what he's trying to do, and he could get lost in this whole conservatory thing, and it was, it's like, at least, if you do that, at least have some kind of, like, it was like my son had done an interview. The Brother Air Ensemble had played at some festival out of town, and some radio station wanted to interview us. So he came and asked my son, the first question, he said, okay, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And my son looked at me and said, he had this weird look on his face, like, well, I'm already something. So it's that kind of thinking that we have to avoid, and, to become artists. Because I think like the artist community supposedly supposed to be the last vestige of honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And it's not. It has not. We have not lived up to that. We've been shucking and jiving, and a lot of it's almost like the artist community has become like the herd.
Yeah.
And so that was why I started busting and street performing, because I was like, man, I have to do something that ensures me a chance to play what I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You dig? And so I always mess with my son. I was like, well, the whole aim is to play something that you've never played before.
Yeah.
Like to literally go out and play something that you've never played before. And I encourage him to be pitchy. I said, man, well, you got an instrument. I said, because even if you're playing sharps or flats, that's a sound too. You know what I mean? It could be a truce type of sound on other people's ears, but somebody like Train could hear sharps and flats. You know, I mean, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying, you know, I'm just saying this is about sound. It's not about this straight ahead thing that we, you know, as jazz musicians, we study this music and we get into a thing where we almost phone it in when we go and do a gig.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know,
I remember you put a little post, I kind of to what you were talking about earlier, you put a post on, this is probably like 3 or 4 years ago. You said something about Cincinnati, like not having its fire, like not truly having a fire in the music scene. And I feel like I know what you're alluding to, and you're alluding to that sort of like textbook regiment style jazz.
Well, it has something to do with the living of a lifestyle. You gotta live this. You just don't, and you can't. What happens is, I don't hang out with a lot of musicians, for the simple fact that we don't have anything in common. You know, I mean, literally, we don't have anything in common. I mean, it's like the things that they assign value to, I could give a rat's ass about. And that's not saying that they're wrong and I'm right. I'm just saying we're just not plugging in on the sound and vibration where they're thinking tunes. You know, let's play a tune, let's play a song, let's compose, you know, I'm talking about living this improvisational life. And it's no kind of separation. It's not a separate entity from the stage to your reality that you live.
Yeah. I've always loved that about you and Hanif. And by the way, for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, Hanif is Brother Air's son, who I'm good friends with. And Hanif is an awesome flute player, flautist. And I've always loved you guys because, one, you're outspoken. Two, you're just individual artists in your own right. And you don't do what everybody else is doing. And for example, that's why I love watching Hanif when he goes live, when he's on the street, because it'll be Hanif with his flute, but hooked up to like a sweet effects board or whatever, and then a drummer usually, and it's usually just them two, and they just go in and they just create right there.
As we speak now, they're just walking out the door as we speak.
Did you tell him you were going to be talking with me today?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Man, I really miss you guys for sure.
He told me to tell you what's up.
That's sweet. But tell us about the sign behind you. Clean that ass.
Well,
I love that's behind you.
That's the mantra for 2021. That's what we're trying to get everybody to understand, that living with parasites is not cool.
Mm-hmm.
You dig? And so through the practice of the Mucus's diet, Otto Erich's Mucus's diet healing system, I've been practicing for 40 years. We learned how to transition away from mucus and pus. We've termed it mucus and pus, which is animal flesh, dairy, grains, and starches. the key word is transition. We were the first ones on the internet talking about transition like that. Like most modalities were talking about, this is the diet, you get into this like this, whatever their diet was. Where the whole practice of the mucusless diet is about your physiology is different than my physiology. You know, I mean, everybody's physiology is a little different. There's some similarities in some things that we can all talk about, but how you transition is a journey on in and of itself. And so we do lemon enemas every day. I've been doing a lemon enema, which is a hot water bottle. A lot of younger people don't know what a hot water bottle is, but if you're over 50, you grew up in a house, on the back door of the bathroom there was always a hot water bottle. It was always a hot water bottle, and the women would use them for douching purposes, but every now and then when the children would get a fever or, you know, some kind of high fever, they would give us an enema. You did. So I grew up taking enemas. But as you get older, you get out of them. You know, you don't do enemas. I mean, you know, you kind of get out of them as you grow older. But Arnold Ehret talked about in the mucusless diet book, which is over 100 years old now, and we have the rights to the book, and we annotated the book.
Wow.
Now, which is this.
Ooh.
So, I mean, that's the way the new book looks.
Yeah.
So this is the annotated version.
Okay.
Of the new book. So, but this book is over 100 years old. And Arnold Ehret, a little history about him. He was the first. He's the real father of naturopathic. Who all these guys that you hear about nowadays, from Dr. Morris to Sebi, to anybody that's talking about any kind of naturopathic type of diet, came out of Arnold Ehret. But for some reason, nobody likes to mention Arnold Ehret. When you mention mucusless diet, the first thing that comes up in everybody's mind in the last 10 years since we've been on the internet is Dr. Sebi. Sebi never had a book out. You see what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
So Sebi in the 80s, and I wasn't much of a Sebiite. I didn't really know a lot about it because I was in the Arnold Ehret mucusless diet until we became these kind of media figures on the internet. Then I started hearing about Sebi. But Sebi in the 80s would mention Arnold Ehret quite often in his lectures. But then he stopped. And the reason why he stopped is because he's seen that his audience were mostly people of color, and he didn't want to elevate some people of color. Didn't like him elevating a European like that.
Yeah.
So he never used it. So it's like foreign when we talk about Arnold Ehret to them, because when they say mucusless diet and they say Sebi, I say, man, you haven't heard of Arnold Ehret? They'd be like, no, I haven't. I'd be like, man, you haven't done your homework, because Arnold Ehret had a sanitarium that people like Einstein would attend to detox.
Wow.
Whoa.
And this was in California in the 1920s.
Whoa.
So Ehret was a heavy dude, and when I got exposed to him, I got obsessed with knowing what he knew. You know what I mean? I was, I was in New York, man, and I was just talking to somebody the other day because, drummer Ralph Peterson passed.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And I was in New York before him, and I remember him coming. All those cats when I was in New York, Louis Nash, I was there probably a little earlier. I remember seeing Cindy Blackman playing in front of the library, busting in front of the library with a full drum set, just playing her ass off. She wouldn't look up, she just wouldn't look up. She would just, so Cindy Blackman, Louis Nash, Ronnie Barrage, Ralph Peterson, Tane, everybody was in New York, and I was actually the one that was working while they were trying to establish themselves. I was working with Emily Rimler at the time. And so I knew Ralph, man, and I kind of seen when he really started getting off into the drug piece real heavy.
I don't really know that.
Yeah, he was a crackhead, like he really had it bad. Him, Tane, all them cats, man, they were, they had to go get some help,
I did not know that about him. I don't know much about Ralph Peterson's like personal life. I really just know him as a player and like a drummer, obviously.
Yeah, he's a fantastic drummer, man. I mean, and we would sit at McHale's and Bradley's and set in, at different jam sessions and hang out at Art Blakey's house and
damn.
And just, it was a fun life, man. But the only thing that wasn't fun about it was the drug part. And I had access to all the drugs. So I take some kind of onus in supply and demand of that whole era. And I mean, if you look at some of our videos on YouTube, there's a story. I actually tell people about the story, but what I will say is that if you know anything about the crack epidemic and Cincinnati comes up in that story, if you know anything about Highway Ricky and them.
I don't think I do.
Okay, well, go study that whole crack epidemic, and then you're gonna see Cincinnati come up.
Okay,
in
wow.
That as you read it, and I hate to say I had a hand in it, because at the time when that's what got me out of the business was once I seen what they were going to do with this expensive drug.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they were going to take an expensive drug and turn it into something that would attract the riffraff, like $10 and $20 hits. I was like, I was like, oh man, I'm done. Because I could see the writing on the wall. And at the same time, I was getting involved with the mucusless diet healing system and wanting to really investigate this thing, man. I was just really taken with, the study of physiology. And I was a vegetarian at that point. I think I was nipping on a little dairy, but I was coming, man. And so by that time, I just left the whole scene, man. After a while, I kind of phased myself out of doing gigs and just kind of left the whole scene. And I'll tell you what was really paramount for me. Like, at one point, I wanted to be the next drummer for Weather Report, and actually got the call
Damn.
And I used to be really tight with Victor Bailey. He was my partner's roommate, Anthony James, who's from Cincinnati, and he went to Berkeley. And he was roommates with Victor, and so when I would call up there to his room, Victor would always answer, and Anthony would never be on. So me and Victor would talk all the time, man. Just got to know each other really good. And Victor wanted that weather report gig. And I wanted that weather report gig. My partner, Anthony, wanted that Return to Forever gig because he was in the Stanley. Like, I mean, like he was like a Stanley clone, man. And so by the time I was going through this thing, because I had got into real, as they say, avant-garde, advanced grade type of stuff. And my mind was just really just being befuddled. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I got this call. Actually, Betty Carter was auditioning, and she was, hey, come. And I was like just going through all these different things. And I ended up just walking away from everything.
Oh, wow.
To study the practice of the mucus diet, because I thought to myself, I said, well, man, this sounds like, like when I read in the Arnold Ehret's Mucus Diet book, I read, your body is an air gas engine. And that was like a light went off in my head. I was like, whoa. I was like, now, what does this cat know that nobody else is breaking things down like this, like really breaking down physiology and really teaching you about truly how your body operates. Mm-hmm. So I went in that direction, man, and just kind of started phasing out gigs. And really, I started doing my enemas and just being ridiculous about the living. I just, I was on the road, man, with bands. I would take juicers with me and have a cooler, and I would just juice, and they would be clowning me, talking about, make me one of them Dick Gregory's, and so I just really became obsessed with knowing more about physiology than anybody. That's what I said. I said, man, I want to learn about physiology, about how this human body works. The only way I could learn about it was I had to get in the trenches. And so I just dedicated my life to the practice of the mucusless diet. The music was still there, but this became the music now. This was like, like this was a part of the music now. Like,
yeah.
Like if I'm gonna write a song, we're gonna write songs like Soul Food killed more black people than the Ku Klux Klan. I mean, that's what the music's gonna be about now. It's like everything had transformed, and so doing the limit enemas, and so now in 2021, since 2001, I've only eaten a total of maybe 3 years total.
Wow,
that is crazy. And how old are you?
I'm 61.
61. Damn. And also, didn't you say the other day that you haven't had solid food in over 60 days or something like that?
Well, I haven't had solid food since July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even my roommate, who's vegan, who's not on the podcast, but just for reference, he'd say, does he need protein? How can he do that?
We believe, Arnold Ehret, mucusless diet in the study, when you start studying the body and you're being very serious about it, all of these theories like protein, calories, vitamins, you got to go to the theorists and study what was this? How did they come up with this? Protein. This is Francois Magende. Protein meaning pro and team. Pro meaning first. Team meaning principle. What's the first principle of life?
Are you saying like literal proteins coming together to form something?
The first principle of life is air. So they've tried to, the Western medicine have tried, well, they haven't tried to, they created a whole industry on teaching that protein, you get protein through a dead animal flesh, which is no such thing as protein, basically. It's just no such thing as it. But you gotta go to the theorists. I can tell you a story about how vitamins, just to show you how Western medicine picks something and just runs with it, and then it can become science. There was a doctor who had who was on a ship, and the men came down with rickets. What they were diagnosed with was rickets, but all the men was just sick, snot coming out of their nose, fevers, everything. Everybody just took sick. So what he did was he took some rice and melted it down and put it in syringes and started shooting up the sick men. And the men were stimulated, and so it changed their symptoms. So what he said in his journal was, what he did, he gave him a shot, and the shot vitalized the men. That's where the word vitamin comes from. They stuck with that, and now they're selling vitamins. It's $1 billion industry.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as vitamins. I could not have gone almost 7 months. I've done a month. I just came off of a month with no liquids.
So just air.
I don't drink any water when I do these fads. When I do these juice fads, I only drink a little pineapple juice.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah, but I did 29 days just 2 weeks ago. I had done 29 days. I was really experimenting where I didn't even do my enema. This is the first time in 30 years I hadn't done an enema every day, but I didn't want no water to touch me for 29 days. I didn't take a bath. I didn't brush my teeth. I didn't do anything for 29 days. just to see what kind of elimination I would go through. I didn't do my enema, and so I didn't have no liquid, so I was pretty much that, dry. So
what does that feel like? Can you walk us through that?
It's kind of like, I can tell you something that you might relate to. I got so I guess you could, I hate to say the word clean, but just to use it in reference, but I got to a certain level of cleanliness that the vibrator in my phone would go off in my pulse 5 seconds before the phone would go off.
Oh shit.
Every time. I would literally, my pulse would go and it would just start vibrating. And I'd look and the phone would ring.
So you're saying basically
Oh
you
my
were
God.
so clean that you were basically able to receive electromagnetic waves, like
Exactly.
okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
frequency. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was your mind? What is your mind like at that time? What do you? I don't know. Are you able to? Do you feel like you're perceiving more?
Well, yeah, you are, and well, I mean, it's you're perceiving a different slant on things.
Uh huh.
You know, I mean, like you kind of really astral traveling at this point. You know, like I was just like, uh, I what why I came off of that fast was that I had an episode where, you know, and I don't have a lot of dreams either. That's another thing. I don't dream, but
Hmm.
for about a week into this dry fast, I had started dreaming.
Oh wow.
And this day, it was the second day. I, you know, like how you're dreaming and you're falling off the cliff and you wake up.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't wake up. I just kept on falling to the death.
Hmm.
Whoa.
And that really shook me up. That's when I came off of that. So that's why I was trying to do a whole month, but I only did like 29 days. But that shook me. I was like, okay, I need a little juice. I need to settle my nerves, because that really nerved me, man. That, you know, like in my dream, I didn't wake. Normally I would have jumped up, you know, like if you know how you go through a tragedy in your dream and you catch yourself, you wake up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I wasn't waking up.
Holy shit.
I was
That-
playing it on out, you know?
That's crazy. It almost sounds like what you're getting at is the sense that like you're getting closer and closer to this point of like spiritual freedom. Like literally your spirit is starting to either perceive more, or you're kind of like bleeding outside of your body in some sense. But then at the same time, when you're saying you're falling and you don't wake up, it's the, you know, the suit, the body is actually holding you back, because the body is like, well, the body's gonna die potentially, and
Well,
then I can't protect the
that's
spirit.
question. That's what we're questioning.
Do you think you could have? What do you think would have happened if you would have kept going? What's your thoughts?
Well, I truly believe in immortality.
Mm-hmm.
And see, if I always say about, if I can do this on this level, then you could believe there's somebody walking around that hasn't eaten in like 50 years or 100 years or 200 years. There's somebody here that, you know what I mean? I'm just not that brilliant to think this shit up. You know what I mean? You know? So I try to always inject the notion of immortality, and death is unnatural.
Oh wow.
See, we done bought into death being natural.
You're damn
death,
right.
yeah, and death only occurs in this deaf culture, because this culture is a deaf culture. So in a deaf culture, everything revolves around decline.
Right.
Yeah.
Or scarcity, or you have only so much time, etc.
Right.
So
right.
so do you mean that do you mean the body physically can actually be immortal, or do you mean spiritually we can be immortal?
I think I get into trouble with a lot of yogis from India, because I discussed this with a lot of the yogis and a lot of the practitioners, and they always teach this meditation where your spirit leaves the body. And I'm saying that your body, you should never leave your body. That's all you got is your body. But for some reason, we've made this connection with leaving it. And, you know, I kind of take the view of how they teach it is almost like racist, to leave the black body, the most perfect body. You see, it's like perfection. And if a person was to perfect themselves, why would they have a child? You understand what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
It's like we need to have another understanding or overstanding about how things are put together, because birthing is birthing is due to nature always giving you, nature is always in your corner and always is going to give you a way to perfect yourself, no matter how bad you disobey the law. That law of aligning yourself with your nature. So nature is never going to give up on you. And that's where birthing comes from. So when you have a child, your mother has a child, your grandmother, you know. But the problem within a deaf culture is when these births happen, you are a fraction of a fraction, a worse fraction. That's why the cleaning up, and that's why we're talking about reconstructing your blood, cleaning your blood up, clean that ass. You know what I mean? Like this is the goal now, is to reconstruct your bloodstream, because I was telling some brothers, some Israelite brothers and some Pan-African brothers, hardcore militant type of cats, man, red, black, and green, you know, just hardcore, you know. And everything that comes out of their mouths always comes to this whole kind of unity of black folks unifying. And so my thing is always, and I had to make these brothers understand, like, look, this is what it looks like when you lose. You done lost this one. Bruh, we not coming together like that. You dig? You've lost this one. You gotta, now what we're trying to push is, okay, let's forget that. Let's forget that coming together with all that race title crap. Let's talk about, let's come together based on clean blood. See, everybody can be in the club, but you got work to do. See, you got work to do.
How do you feel like on a normal day? What is like your routine, and then when how much you like to sleep? You know, do you exercise, stuff like that?
I only sleep about 45 minutes a day.
Wow. Whoa. Jesus.
Yeah, about 40, 45, 30 minutes. Like, I didn't even sleep last night, so I haven't slept in 2 days. So normally it's about 45 minutes.
Dang. I want to get there because I got stuff to do.
Yeah. Damn it.
When I'm up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, if you could see this practice pad, kid over here. You know.
Are you practicing drums?
Yeah. I have a practice pad kit that I use and I got these big aluminum sticks that's made out of aircraft aluminum.
Wow.
And I'm really what I'm trying to do now is I'm doing a study of real slow motion practice. So I'm pulling out all my old method books, and I'm going over all my old method books, just everything as slow as possible, like
Wow.
on 60 beats a minute or 7, just trying to be very slow and use these weighted aluminum sticks. And I want to do that for like a month and a half or two, and then not pick up no regular sticks for that long. Just then
Whoa.
pick up some regular sticks and go at the drum kit and see just I'm trying to look for clarity with my sound. Like I want to play exactly what I want you to hear me play. You know, I want you to I want to know that that's what you heard. It's just what I played. I don't want to listen to a recording and be like, damn, boy, that sound, man, that didn't sound like I thought it would. No, I'm working on really having some clarity, you know. So that's what I'm working on now, man, musically. So
Wow.
Since you've been on and perfecting this diet, what are some physiological changes you've noticed in yourself?
well, that I don't sleep. That's one.
Yeah, that's huge. Okay.
Wow. I just I'm I think I'm more intuitive to like, I hate to say it like this, but evil around me.
Okay.
I see that. You seem like you are. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
physiologically though, can you? That's like a extra sense type of thing.
That is.
Well, I mean, but that's all physiological.
Okay,
To me,
I see.
everything is about the bloodstream.
Okay. Well, not that this
I
matters.
think I understand what you're asking.
Yeah.
Okay. This was interesting. After this last dry fast, I didn't have a bowel movement for about a week and a half. And then because I had stopped doing enemas and everything, but I wasn't taking in nothing, no liquids, nothing. So about a week went by, and all of a sudden I felt like I had the runs. You know, like if you drink too much juice or something, you got the runs. I was like, wow, what? Okay, so I'm like feeling like, man, I'm running to the, like, man. So I get into the restroom and I eliminate, and all of a sudden I eliminate, and it just comes out into the toilet, and as soon as it hit the air, it swole up like a big old puff, like a big turd. It was the color. Now, this was interesting, is that when people don't understand, if I said to you all, relate iron in the blood, like you've heard that term, and you might have bought iron pills or iron vitamins. Relate that to what you think that is. Iron in the blood.
I'm not sure. I would just think.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll let you say it.
I kind of know, because it's kind of obscure and people really don't think about it, because This is what we've been taught inside of the deaf culture. So iron, really, our blood, have you ever seen like rust on a piece of steel?
Mm-hmm.
That's the color of our blood, oxidized.
Mm-hmm.
Our blood should be the color of rust. And if that's why there's no such thing, you hear people talking about, well, he died of a blood clot. She died of a blood clot. There's no such thing as a blood clotting. Because our blood, if we cut ourselves or get shot, our blood runs like water. Because it's filthy. But if it was clean, it would clot as soon as it hit the air, and it would be the color of rust.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Wow, that's crazy.
So you eliminated blood? You're saying?
I eliminated, my elimination looked like a big, and as soon as it hit the air, it like swole up like you know how you put that caulk when you put in drywall and you put that plastic caulk and it just swells up.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Wow.
So what do you think that was?
I think that it was blood, corrosion from the intestines.
Mm-hmm.
People don't. Oh, that's another thing too. Is people don't understand why we do the enemas and what happens with the intestines, that 32 feet of intestines, and why you want to keep that stuff cleaned out is because you have 32 feet, and over the years, I guess it's like building a house up from the ground, like you building your dream house, and the kitchen sink probably wouldn't get clogged for probably like 5 to 10 years, you know. But once it got clogged in that little elbow, you would pull that elbow out and you would see this cakey type of grease that's done.
Right.
That's basically how your intestines function. Damn. And so what happens is people go through knee surgeries, hip surgeries, all kind of surgeries because of pain. But what happens is after years and years of eating mucus and pus, that plaque, it's almost like a plaque. And y'all, I don't know if y'all know anything about marijuana and the pipe, you know, smoking it. But it's like, I remember cleaning my pipe, and the resin from the pipe was always the best, you know?
Shit.
So the resin from your intestines of eating like this over years and years and years start to corrode. And it recirculates itself back into your bloodstream. And it creates pain. It can be in your knee, but then once you go to the doctors, they'll tell you you need a knee replacement or a hip replacement. It's the pain that you're going through. They never understand this whole physiology piece. We're the only ones talking on this level about the bloodstream. Everything is about the blood.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about the blood, man. Everything. Your hue is all about the blood, about mucus and pus poison.
So is my hue messed up right now?
Hey, we all messed up, bro. We all trying to get it back. You know, we trying to put ourselves back together again, bro.
You know, I was gonna text you a couple days ago. I got a cold, and I haven't had a cold in a long time, and maybe you can still hear the mucus of me getting over it. I was gonna text you though. I was gonna say, let's say, I mean, you're probably not gonna get sick, but if you were me, what's the first thing you would do when you're clogged up in the head?
Well, first I would definitely pull my hot water bottle off the back door.
Yeah. No, I want to try that for real.
You got to get your hot water bottle, man, and start cleansing. That's just the. I mean, man, I had to go onto our group page and stop people from sending me pictures of parasites that they would get out.
Oh shit.
They was actually sending, hey brother Eric, man, I did my first lemon enema, man. Look at this, and they would get long parasites out this long.
Oh.
I had to tell them, like, stop sending me pictures. You know, like, I'm glad y'all are cleansing. So now all over the world they're doing lemon enemas and making YouTube videos. And
honestly, send us a picture or two for this podcast.
Well, hey, we had I wish Spirit was on here with me, cause he could. Because when we do our YouTube videos, if you go to mucusfreelife.com, Professor Spirit's channel, you can see all of that, man. It's just, we do hours about mucoid plaque and talking.
I was checking you guys out last week, and then I was on the channel quite a few times, a little bit. I was actually watching the video on how to properly do an enema, but that was a little while ago, so I would not be able to redo it, but I definitely would like to do that and probably need to do that.
You need to get your hot water bottle, man, because
what is that? What do you mean by that? A hot water bottle?
You don't know what a hot water bottle is?
No, not in the definition that you're saying, I don't think.
Okay, hold on one second.
Okay.
We're about to see a hot water
I feel like this podcast will be censored because we're hitting on such such wild things.
I mean,
they'll be like,
we haven't even gone to the other stuff.
It, yeah.
But no, you know what? If they shouldn't be censoring this. I think they'll let
really
this
just
one.
Joking in the sense that.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a hot water bottle.
Oh, right. Okay.
So you know what these are, right? So
yeah, I didn't know it was called that actually.
Yeah, or an enema bag, but really it's a hot water bottle because people have different uses for it. You know, you could use it as a hot compress.
Yeah.
To douche with.
Right.
Here's the anal. This is the part that you put in the anal.
Okay.
Put it up. Squeeze you about 4 or 5 lemons. Mixed with the still water and heat it up to its nice warm, hot, not boiling because it's got to go in your behind, but you want it to have a little heat to it so it creates that laxative effect. And man, once you start seeing this stuff in my lectures, I always say that when I started doing it, I was seeing old blow pops from 1969.
Oh, bro, that's scary. We got to do it, but now I'm just scared.
I don't want to see it.
And so when you're doing that, you don't have to give us the entire rundown, but I am curious. Are you sitting on the toilet? You do it while you're on the toilet?
I'll tell you how to do it. I did it so much when I was last sick about a year and a half ago.
Oh, you did do it.
Yeah, I did several when I was sick because I really hate taking pills. I really, really, really abhor taking pills.
Yeah.
And I was doing my best to avoid it, so I said, fuck it. It's time for some enemas. And I did like 8 or 9 or 10. And it was a gradual process. But boy, did I feel good after that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
So are you sitting on the toilet?
You don't have to sit. No.
Or how does it work?
Well, the best thing to do is to get it so that your body easily can push that stuff out, and the hot water bottle is actually effective.
Okay.
And so you go into a curling position, like maybe a fetal position. And so that at that point, you have like all that pressure is coming directly outwards.
Oh boy.
And then you can kind of just reach in, get yourself comfortable.
Do you need like a pan or something?
Stick this.
Yeah.
And this. Okay,
Right.
so it's filled up, and a lot of people are hanging. You know, it's like a little hanging thing
Okay.
that you hang up on the shower or something.
Yeah.
And then it runs, and you see the little latch.
Uh-huh.
It's like a little clamp right here.
Uh-huh.
See a little clamp?
Yeah.
So you use that to cut the water off and on.
Okay.
I hold it myself. I don't hang it up. I just hold it in my hand, and I squeeze it like a power washer. I just like squeeze it and just get that water to just rush up, into me real fast, like a power wash. Then I try to hold it in for I'm laying on the ground. I try to hold it in. And a lot of times I'll stand on my head and do my yoga. I do my yoga position.
Well,
and
that's next.
I stand on my head for about 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'll go to the toilet and eliminate.
Okay, that makes sense.
Dang.
So you squeeze the whole bag out, right?
I try to if I
Or as
can.
much as you can.
I try to if I can, and I just feel like pressure there. I'll back off.
You'll know when you can't.
wait until that pressure goes down. Then I'll squeeze it all again, and then most of the times two tries I pretty much done got it, because I don't use a lot of water. A lot of people fill the bag up. I don't fill the bag up. I just
okay.
put about 4 or 5 lemons, and then maybe I don't use that much water.
Okay.
I just a splash of water just to get it really thin, and to get that nice heat. Like I like mine's really warm, hot, like not boiling hot, but I like it really hot to give me that laxative effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I can hold it in. For a pretty long time, but you can imagine I've been doing them. I started on my 30th birthday in 1990. Every day I've done it in them.
Wow.
Since 1990. My son, like Hanif, he does his every other day.
You're clean as a whistle. You can start a clinic inside your body.
Yeah.
I wish, man, but it's work. It's just work, man, and controlling what you put in your mouth. I didn't start this kind of fasting until 30 years into the practice of the mucusless diet. Almost 25 years into the mucusless diet. I didn't start that kind of the first thing that I did was I ate fruit for a year. And then I came out of that, and I would do 100-day fasts. I did about 4 or 5 or 6, maybe 100-day fasts, and then I might eat for a month. Then I might do 100 days, and I might eat for a month and a half. Then I do 100. Then my first 8.5 month fast, that was what really broke it open for me. Like, okay, I can do 8.5 months. Okay, now I'll do 9 months. Now I'll do 10.5 months. Now this fast supposed to go a year. This will be the longest.
Wow.
But this is the first time that I've actually said how long I was gonna fast for. Normally I don't know how long. I just go until I feel like it. And that first 8.5 month fast, I asked Hanif what did he want for his Earth Day, and he said he wanted me to have a birthday dinner with him. So I came off my fast there.
Oh, that's cool.
So I mean, it's
Brother Air, I'm imagining right now we've gone pretty in depth into the mucusless diet, and I'm thinking if we can put a bow tie on that, your final message for the people regarding this diet. And then if we want to go into some dirty stuff.